Some fans are curious to know what are the differences between Wednesday and the original Addams family. Complete change of Gomez. This might be the difference that got most people talking, because seeing Gomez as a man without an aura of glamour was very hard to digest for some people. In the movie, Gomez has a charm that's signature to him and that gives him the kind of mysterious feel too. He is physically fit and his height is similar to that of Morticia. However, on Wednesday we saw a shorter and bulkier version of Gomez, and he didn't look as universally attractive as before. This made the fans a little upset until the creators explained that they intentionally created Gomez's character that way. According to Tim Burton, they tried to give him the classic look of Gomez that's mostly found in novels or the early renditions of the Addams family. The showrunner Alfred Gough also talked about it, saying he wanted the silhouette to look more like the Charles Addams cartoons, which is Gomez shorter than Morticia versus the kind of suave Raul Julia version in the movie. Miles Miller is also the showrunner of Wednesday, and he added to Gough's point. He's also incredibly debonair and romantic, and I think he has all these classic ingredients of the Gomez that we've seen come before, but he brings something also very different: psychic abilities. In the Addams family movie, Wednesday was a kind of regular kid, and she never really had superhuman powers, although she did drink poison once and still survived. But other than that, the fans actually considered her a regular human child. In fact, Morticia, Wednesday's mother, did have certain psychic powers, but Wednesday was rather normal in the movies. However, on the show we see Wednesday have some pretty solid psychic abilities, which help her see things from the past and the future. And these are not just dreams, but proper visions that make her see things. Wednesday uses these visions to then help solve the mystery of what exactly is happening in the school. Her power is basically connected to touch, as she immediately determines the people who were annoying Pugsley in the first episode just by touching him. Wednesday talks about these psychic visions on the show, saying they come on without warning and feel like electric shock therapy, but without the satisfying afterburn. Although the newer version of Wednesday is still a human and only got a few powers from her ancestors. Mother-daughter struggles. Morticia and Wednesday never really had the healthiest of relationships, but in the movies they were still quite fond of each other. Wednesday didn't have a lot of harsh feelings for her mother in the movies, which completely changed on the show. As in the show, Wednesday made it clear that she's not such a big fan of Morticia. She also made it very clear that she's nothing like her mother and doesn't want to follow in her footsteps, and that's why she wasn't thrilled about going to Nevermore. In the movies, we got to see a rather young Wednesday and her dealings with her mother, but in the show, Wednesday is in her rebellious teenage phase, and she surely doesn't want to be dictated to anything. Morticia surely is a very loving and nurturing mother in the show, and she even got a little bit hurt when Wednesday told her that she didn't want to be like her. But we did see a huge difference in Wednesday herself. This could also be because the show depicts Wednesday as a grown-up, and she's not a child anymore. The iconic dance. Jenna Ortega playing Wednesday recreated the most iconic dance from the classic The Addams Family movie. The dance itself was completely different though. She gave a fully modern touch to the dance and the fans loved it. It has gone viral that even Lady Gaga has created her version of the dance. Jenna took some inspiration from the dance in the original movie, where Wednesday is dancing with her arms behind while she moves on the dance floor. Some fans are also noticing the hints of Gomez's dance steps in the final rendition of the dance. Jenna has talked about it, saying, "I choreographed that myself, and I think it's very obvious that I'm not a dancer." She also revealed on Twitter that she watched dance videos of goth clubs from the 80s and picked a lot of her moves from there. Some fans were criticizing Jenna for a quirky dance that looks borderline weird, but the point of this dance is to show Wednesday's originality, because she didn't want to attend the ball in the first place. The dark theme. The Addams Family movie was considered the biggest hit in the comedy genre. Although it had some pretty brutal scenes, the hilarious one-liners of the cast made up for it. The movie carried out its most traumatic scenes in the kind of fashion that still looked funny and entertaining. For instance, the time when Debbie lost her life was meant to be sad, but the movie turned it into hilarious banter. If we take a look at Wednesday, right off the bat we realise that the show is going to be much more inclined towards dark and gothic genre. Although there are still lots of scenes in the show that will make you ticklish, but overall the show features some pretty nerve-wracking scenes that are for an emotionally mature audience. The central plot of the show is also rather dark, and Wednesday goes on to investigate the mystery of someone's death while she's away from her family and her father is held up in prison. The lives of her friends and family are at stake on the show, and she has to do everything very carefully. That's the very reason why it's being said that Wednesday is far more dark than the Addams family ever was. The sibling relationship. Pugsley and Wednesday were always being seen pulling stunts in the Addams family, but we never really got to know how exactly they felt for each other. The movie was also very ambiguous about why Pugsley let Wednesday mess around with his mind every single time. Not only this, but the movies also didn't clarify who's older between the two siblings. It's only recently that the show revealed that Wednesday is older than Pugsley. Pugsley, and that she's also very protective of her brother. It's evident in the episode where students are trying to intimidate Pugsley, and Wednesday takes revenge on them. As a result, she also gets expelled from the school, but she goes on to say that no one has the right to hurt Pugsley other than her. So it shows us that Wednesday actually loved Pugsley and had a very emotional connection with her brother, while in the movies, all we saw was Wednesday constantly attacking her brother and being annoyed by his existence. The show gives us a deeper insight at the kind of bond that both the siblings share, and how Pugsley is obviously the sensitive one between the two. Wednesday's makeover. Wednesday also got a whole new makeover in the new show. Previously, we saw her as a wicked child with braids, but her makeup wasn't very gothic. However, the show features a Wednesday who's always wearing dark lipstick with darker eyes. She even never blinks in the show, which is the staple of her character. At this point, Wednesday has started taking the fashion sense of her mother, somehow because the dark and bold lips of Morticia have been a classic since forever, and she dolls them up even in the show. Not only this, but Wednesday also got new bangs that elevate her look entirely. Before this, Wednesday in the original movie had a wider forehead and she kept her hair in a braid at all times. The wardrobe of Wednesday is also updated and she gets to wear some pretty glamorous costumes, like the one she's wearing when she's dancing. The show overall could be called a rather modern and updated version of the movie makeover of Thing. For the longest time, Thing was a constant source of comedy and relief in the Addams Family movies, but the CGI didn't really sit well with the fans, as the movies used CGI that was rather outdated. Also in the movies, Thing actually looks spotless, and it doesn't have any stitches or wounds. However, the show features Thing as a bruised hand that has stitches all over it. Not only this, but it looks very lifelike this time. The fingers and nails of Thing are also discoloured, showing obvious signs of torture, which enhances the overall gothic and darker feel. The show pays attention to the details, and even the wrist part of the Thing is made with great details. It actually looks like a real hand that moves, and the creators haven't entirely used CGI. The use of modern technology and prosthetics have made Thing look far more real, while the tech in previous movies almost made it look like a toy. More screen time. The plot of the Addams Family revolved around Gomez and Morticia mainly, and Wednesday didn't get a lot of screen time in the movie. But the show is completely based on her character, and she's narrating her own story. Moreover, the stories of the movie and the show are completely different. The Addams Family movie deals with a new member of the family who's threatening their inheritance, but the new show on Netflix is more of a thriller, in which Wednesday solves mysteries while risking her own life. In the movie, the plot never really revolved around Wednesday's trauma, but on the show it was later revealed that she had quite a traumatic past. Some fans think that this aspect actually made Wednesday stand out as a show. The reason is that in the movie, Wednesday didn't need a reason to be evil, but the show gave her a backstory that made her character look a little softer, which gave her character a lot more depth. So, what are the differences that you found between the show and the movie? Tell us in the comments, take care, and thank you so much for watching.